Still here.
Hey, let's also mute
Okay,
ourselves.
guys.
Let's mute our ends.
Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kristen Lena. I am going to switch over here and make sure I'm going live over on Facebook. So I'm just going to click a couple things. One of the things that we had a real fun time getting situated. We're a couple minutes late. I acknowledge the breakdown. We are 3 minutes late starting on Zoom. I'm still not even live yet, but we are coming. And we had a couple of technical glitchy difficulties, and it's all good. It's all good. Leaders shift and they know how to pivot. So welcome, welcome, welcome. What I'm going to do now is just make sure that everything is operating smoothly over here on Facebook. Give me 1 second. Good morning. Everyone that's on the panel, please go ahead and just keep yourselves muted and just give a big old wave. Okay, so what you guys don't know is that we are so excited to be here. We're so excited to have this conversation. Again, if you were here last week, thank you so much. We had so much sharing. We had interaction. I think when I look at the stats and I look at the numbers, when I see the number of people who viewed, or people who saw the video, and there was like 26 or 2,800 people that were able to see this training. It warmed my heart, because really that's why we're doing this. Why we're doing this is for impact, so that we can actually make a difference, so that we can spread light, love, peace, possibility out into the world in amidst these times, while these things are happening, and these things are, the things that are going on in the world are really scary. So one of the things that I want to do right now is I'm going to unmute. I'm going to introduce, if you all don't know, my beautiful co-host, Crystal Jackson. So Crystal, wave and you can unmute yourself. What I'm going to have you do is, let's just see over here. And for all of the panelists, I want you to know that there's an option for us to have our chat messages go to all panelists, or all panelists and all attendees. So make sure that when we're doing anything in the chat, that you've selected all panelists and attendees, so that we can actually communicate. So for those of you who are watching, that means that you get to ask us questions, because we are going to open this up today. We have an amazing, a lot of these people look the same as last week. We have 3 new souls in here. I'm so excited. If you guys want, as panelists, if you want to pop into the chat, what I am going to do is, we have a super, super, super special guest, and I want to bring her in. All right, hold on for me. So Crystal,
Yeah.
let's just open this up just real quick. And we're not going to unmute anyone, because I want to start in a very specific way. I want to bring our special guest in. And, oh, no, I don't. No, I don't. Thank you for reminding me, Beth. I looked right at Beth's face. And then, so once I do this, I want to bring our special guest in, and then we'll pop over to Beth. So Crystal, have at it.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm just getting our token male, Aaron, in the chat as well.
Yay.
Because we just had a little bit of confusion this morning, but welcome everybody. Happy Sunday. I know last week has been another yet eventful week of unknowns, right? So we have kids at home. How many people have kids at home? If you have kids at home, type in the chat, kids at home, so that we see how many people have kids at home. And then there we have Erin, and our special guest is almost here. Her name is there. And I'm just going to say, we are so honored. Kristen, I think both of us probably have some words to say about Judith, and every single person on this panel has words to say about Judith. There are no words to say about Judith, really, that can really express the deep love and gratitude for this woman. We're honored to have her. Judith, can you put your video on? Or Kristen, can you support her with that so we can see her?
Yeah.
Judith, there she is. Yay!
Success!
There is Judith. We call her the fierce ambassador. She is I call her like the queen of leadership. She is just has been such a beautiful, gosh, seriously, when I say there's no words, Judith, there's no words.
Yeah.
Because you are that to me. Like you are someone who has stood for all of us to live this life of leadership. So Judith has been doing leadership work for over 40 years, a pioneer in this work, and just honored to have you here with us. And thank you for being a yes, a day in advance. I was talking to my husband last night going, this is incredible. Literally just sent a quick text. Hey, Judith, would you come on with us tomorrow morning? You're like, absolutely. So thank you for always being a yes. And thank you for being you. Kristen, any words that you want to share about Judith?
Yeah, the only thing that I'll say, and we're gonna, Judith, we decided that we were all having some fun technical glitches and difficulties and people were having a hard time getting in. And my vision for today was that we were going to do our grounding, right? Beth was gonna lead us in a grounding. And then I thought, how great would this be to actually do a grounding out there with the world and talk about why we would do that and why that's important. So before we even dive in, what we're going to do is Beth Osmer, Beth, raise your hand, wave, Beth. She is going to lead us in a grounding, and really, I'm going to mute everyone else. And what I want you to do, Beth and Judith, trust me, you will get your moments. Beth, what I want you to do is talk about why we do this. And this is something that we do, just so that you all know, Judith is the common denominator, one of the common denominators amongst all of us on this panel. She has touched our lives, each one of us. So she is our link, really, truly, to each other through the work of leadership and transformation. So you are, like, in my heart, you in my heart of hearts, I love you deeply, madly, and fiercely. And you will all get to know a little bit about why that's so today. But Beth, I would love for you to lead us in a grounding meditation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you, Kristen. Yes, and like just even seeing Judith brings tears to my eyes. So I was just sharing, like, I feel so grateful that we have the leadership training and this group, because I'm watching my friends that don't have something like this and how they're really struggling, and the amount of like support we have and love and the tools that we learn from Judith and from the training and from the other trainers we are so fortunate, incredibly fortunate. So so grounding, I'll just tell a very quick story. My daughter she's 10, she's having a really hard time sleeping since this whole thing happened. And last night she's been sleeping with me, which is fine, and she just couldn't settle. And she's talking in her sleep, and I think she's tuning into a lot of the fear energy out there. Like it's just she can feel it deeply. And so last night I took her through a meditation. You know, I just held her and I said, okay, we're going to go in, and we went to the beach in her mind and we grounded, and she fell asleep within seconds. So the idea of grounding is about coming within, pulling out from the outside static, and coming within your heart into yourself, because right now the outside static is thick. So this is this opportunity to really learn how to be with yourself and self-soothe. And she used that word. She was like, I usually can self-soothe, but I'm having such a hard time self-soothing right now. So we get to learn how to self-soothe through this, and grounding is one of those things. So I'm going to just take you through a quick 5-minute grounding. And grounding is grounding into the earth, grounding into yourself, grounding into your light, grounding into your heart, whatever it is. Okay, so let's close our eyes. And just take a moment to just tune into your breath. And just noticing your breath as it moves in, and noticing your breath as it moves out. Your breath is that bridge that you can use to take you from the outer world deeply into your inner world. So let's just take a moment to go within, allowing yourself to relax and moving out of your conscious mind and moving your focus down into your heart. And as you're focusing on your heart, just relaxing. And in this moment, you can quietly, in your mind, give your conscious mind permission to rest. Our thinking mind can go into overdrive. So just give it permission to rest. And then come back to your breath. And then on your next breath, imagine that you're sitting or lying down, if you're lying down, on a golden boulder of light. And this boulder of light will support you in anchoring to the earth, grounding deep within the earth. And let's just take a moment to call your energy back in. Just call all parts of yourself that may have been fragmented or stressed or fearful, to call them back in into your heart. And you could use this powerful mantra: I call all my energy and power that I have given away or left behind back to me now. I call all my energy and power that I have given away or left behind back to me now. And you may notice and feel your energy coming back, because right now you need all your power and all of your energy. And just feeling it settle. As you feel yourself relax into your breath. And saying these words as we come to a close: I am safe. I am connected. I am powerful. And I am love. And then just taking a deep breath in through your nose, holding it there for a minute. And letting all of the tension out through your mouth. And thank you everyone for being here. We are stronger together. And when you're ready, opening up your eyes.
Thank you so much,
You're
Beth.
welcome.
I appreciate you. Okay. That's better. That's so much better. All right. So for those of you who are new and weren't here last week, just to give you context for why we decided to come together and do this collective training, wisdom sharing, really is to elevate consciousness in this moment. There's a lot of fear, a lot of scarcity, a lot of lack, a lot of unknown, and it's very scary for a lot of people. And why we created this was because, Crystal and I kind of converged on this idea that as people who've gone through this work, this transformational leadership work, we all are going through we're feeling our emotions. And yet we have these distinctions that give us power in these moments, that give us peace and calm and the ability to be in uncertain, unknown times and not, let me just say, freak the fuck out. Like really be here now, be in the moment, even with all of the unknowns, and feel okay. And that to me is a gift. And as someone in this collective who we have these gifts, we want to share them. So we want to share our wisdom and our knowledge. And if you're just joining us, I apologize, we're having issues over on Facebook, and it's not loading over on Facebook, and I'm going to get you guys the link for Zoom. But I wanted to start with our priestess, our leader of leaders. And really, Judith, you know, my question for you and the question that we're asking and the message that we're putting out into the world really is, what now? Like, what now? What's possible in times like this? From your perspective, the sage, the visionary badass. I think we put badass in your contract, unbeknownst to you, or I don't know. But what can you provide? What's the context that you can set for the possibilities that really are in front of us right now?
Thank you so much, Kristen. And I just want to acknowledge and greet all of you, everybody on the panel and everybody who's listening in or who will be listening in at some point in time, and tell you how really, truly honored I am to be here with all of you. When Crystal sent me a text yesterday and said, you know, do you want to jump on this thing tomorrow? I'm like, are you kidding? I'm there. Of course I'm here. You guys are like the light workers. You're the core of the energetic expression that we need in the world right now. So of course I want to be part of this. It's why we've all been called here. So Kristen, this isn't exactly what you asked of me, but I would like to start with the blessing that we used, that we gave to everyone in the training that we did. Some of you were staffing a training with me a couple of weeks ago or 10 days ago, and we did a blessing for everyone. I would like to start with that blessing. Is that all right? So this is a call and response. And how that works is that I'll say a few words and then I'll pause, and then you all repeat those words. So we'll go back and forth between call and response.
Okay,
and
so would you like us all to unmute? You want us to actually do this with you? Okay, so everyone unmute. I love this.
And so this is a blessing that we are extending to everyone who's listening to this. So we'll put our hands up like this, which is to just, you know, project the energy outwards. Okay, here we go. Beloveds.
Beloveds.
Sawubona.
Sawubona.
Okay, just a little parens here. That is a South African word that people use to greet one another, and it means I see you. So, sawubona.
Sawubona.
We see you.
We see you.
You are a divine emanation.
You
are a divine emanation
Of love, light, beauty, wisdom, and joy.
of love, light, beauty, wisdom, and joy.
May you live with purpose.
May you
May you
live
live
with
purpose.
May you live with freedom.
May you live with
freedom.
May you live with passion.
May you live
with passion.
May you always remember who you are.
May you always
remember
who
who
you
you
are.
We love you.
We love you.
We honor you.
We honor you.
We recognize our own greatness in you.
We
recognize
our own greatness
in you. Namaste.
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 So that is a blessing for everyone. And so the question, what now? Well, I think inherent in that blessing are some answers. To see who you are, to remember who you are. So in times like these, when everything is beyond our sphere of control, everything out there is beyond our sphere of control, what we do have control over, and this is just a reminder, we know this, but I think every reminder helps right now, that what we do have control over is how we are going to be in a time like this. Who are we going to be? Why are we here? What is our purpose for being here? So remembering why we're here. On that note, I'd love to share with you something that really gives me comfort during this time. It is a piece of writing that was written by Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who's a Jungian analyst out of Denver, Colorado. She's a Latina, or maybe the word is Latinx. I'm not sure how we distinguish those. She is a curandero, which is to say she is a shaman and a healer. She works in the deep waters of the soul. And she wrote a piece in 2003, which was just as we were going into the Iraq War, right at the beginning of the Iraq War. So we were coming out of September 11. Everything had been completely disrupted. It was a time kind of like now, although I think now is probably presenting us with greater challenges because this is a worldwide phenomenon that everyone is experiencing. So she wrote something she's calling Letter to a Young Activist During Troubled Times. And I've pulled out some pieces from this that I would love to share with you. It's maybe a 5-minute read. So if you would grant me that, is everybody okay with that? So I'm just going to pull out some excerpts from it. I'm not going to do the whole thing. She begins, mis estimados, which is Spanish for my dear. She says, do not lose heart. We were made for these times. So little sidebar, if I could insert a little commentary here and there. Now what? It is to remember that we were made for these times. She goes on, I've heard from so many recently who are deeply and properly bewildered. They're concerned about the state of affairs in our world right now. I urge you, ask you, gentle you, to please not spend your spirit dry by bewailing these difficult times. Especially, do not lose hope. Most particularly, because the fact is, we were made for these times. For years, we have been learning, practicing, been in training for, and just waiting to meet on this exact plane of engagement. I cannot tell you often enough that we are definitely the leaders we have been waiting for, and that we have been raised since childhood for this time precisely. I grew up on the Great Lakes, me too, and recognize a seaworthy vessel when I see one. Regarding awakened souls, There have never been more able crafts in the waters than there are right now across the world. And they are fully provisioned and able to signal one another as never before in the history of humankind. I would like to take your hands for a moment and assure you that you are built well for these times. Despite your doubt, your frustrations in confronting all that needs to change right now, or even feeling like you have lost the map entirely, you are not without resources. You are not alone. Look out over the bow. So imagine that you're on a ship right now. You are one of those souls out in the water. Look out over the bow. There are millions of boats of righteous souls on the water with you. In your deepest bones, you have always known this is so. I assure you that the long timbers composing your bow and rudder come from a greater forest. That long-grained lumber is known to withstand storms, to hold together, to hold its own, and to advance regardless. We have been in training for a dark time such as this since the day we assented to come to earth. Our having been to hell and back on at least one momentous occasion makes us seasoned vessels for certain. Even if you do not feel you are, you are. Even if your puny little ego wants to contest the enormity of your soul, that smaller self can never for long subordinate the larger self. In matters of death and rebirth, you have surpassed the benchmarks many times. In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer towards complaining over how much is wrong or unmended in the world. Do not focus on that. Do not make yourself ill with overwhelm. We are needed. That is all we can know. And though we meet resistance, we more so will meet great souls who will hail us, love us, guide us, and we will know them when they appear. Didn't you ask for grace? Don't you remember that to be in grace remembers to submit to a voice greater? You have all the resources you need to ride any wave, to surface from any trough. In the language of aviators and sailors, ours is to sail forward now, all balls out. Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to meet the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. It is not given to us to know which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. What is needed for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts, one, then another, then another. We know that it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group who will not give up during the first, second, or 100th gale. One of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world, now get this, is to stand up and show your soul. Soul on deck shines like gold in dark times. The light of the soul throws sparks, sends up flares, builds fires, causes proper matters to catch fire. To display the lantern of soul in shadowy times like these to be fierce, and to show mercy toward others are acts of immense bravery and greatest necessity. Struggling souls, hear this, struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help to calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things you can do. In my uttermost bones, I know something, as do you. It is that there can be no despair when you remember why you came to earth, who you serve, and who sent you here. In the good words we say and the good deeds we do, the good words we say and the good deeds we do are not ours. They are the words and deeds of the one who brought us here. In that spirit, I hope you will write this on your wall. Make note. When a great ship is harbored and moored, it is safe. There can be no doubt. But that is not what great ships are built for. So that really digs in for me very, very deeply. And to me, it contains all the answers to the question, what now?
Okay, so we could end. Thanks, guys, for coming. Mic drop. I will channel my inner Michael Strasner. Judith, mic drop. And so here's what, for those of you watching and don't know Judith, now you know why we love this woman, and she has been a pioneer in this work, and thank you. And what, I have so many notes. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. And what I would like to do at this point is just open it up for the panelists to engage in that conversation. So unmute yourselves, contribute, ask, deepen around this topic.
So the piece that I loved when she was saying essentially that if you don't know your soul, if you don't know that you are that vessel yet, you will. And that is what excites me about this opportunity, is I just feel like it is fertile soil. And that if you haven't had that solid knowing in the past, there's the opportunity for it right now. One of the thoughts that I had this morning was, we have done leadership training. People invest in leadership training. They travel from all around the world to attend it. And what you have when you're there is an experience. It's experience-based. So it's not someone lecturing at you. It's not something intellectual. It's based on experience, because they know that from that, once you've had an experience, you will take a different action in your life. That's where the transformation is. And I thought today, how incredible is it? And just a little peek kind of behind the curtain. Once you're in leadership training, what is often experienced is fear, anxiety, uncertainty. It is built to bring up your triggers so that you can have an awareness of them, that you can have a responsibility, you can make a choice from them. And I was thinking, for the rest of the world, what an incredible, wild, unprecedented experience that we get to have right now. Whether you chose it or not, but I believe whether this is 2 weeks, whether this lasts for 2 months, that there's the opportunity here that you can be standing with a new clarity at the end of it, with a new experience with which you lead your life from, that you could have never fathomed. And that's what I see is on the table. And when she said it with the poem, like, if you did not know it before, the opportunity to know that shift, to know the solidity of your vessel, the power of your soul is on the table right now.
Beautiful. And what I'll add, and my apologies for not, is before you speak, please say your name and who you are in the world, what you do. So Kimberly, will you just share?
Yes, so my name is
We all
Kimberly
can see that you're Kimberly Baker.
Yes, and I work as a breakthrough coach, which is part of why this is so exciting for me, because the work that I do is to take people past that level of comfort, because that's where the results are. It's crazy. They will, I'll speak with people and they'll share with me their desire, what it is they want to create in their life. And it is, I think, intuitively, the things that you are drawn to is because intuitively you know they're outside of your comfort zone, and it's going to require that freedom and that transformation to get there. So it's just the thing that comes to me this week is like fertile soil. This soil will grow anything. That is what is on the table.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so if I can just pop in here, that's so true, Kimberly. And so we really want to be mindful about what we're planting in that soil, right? It is fertile soil. It is the soil of possibility. You know, anything is possible, like you said. So this is a time to be really mindful about what are we planting in the soil. And you know, you said, like, you know, we didn't choose this time. On one level we didn't, but on another level we have. You know, as Clarissa suggests in what she writes, we have chosen to be here at this precise moment in time. So we are here out of choice. And what next? Every moment is to choose this moment. I choose this moment just as it is, not the way I wish it were and all of that. I choose this moment, which really gives me access to freedom to create in this moment. If I am in resistance to this moment, if I'm bemoaning and bewailing and wringing my hands and contracting in fear around what is, then I close myself off to being able to access creative responses to this moment. So I did a Facebook post this last week on the power of choice, or I did a live actually on the power of choice. And it's so critical for us to really get and be in choice every moment. This I choose this moment.
Judith, for those, you know, a lot of the people watching, people who are not graduates of this work, they're really, you know, some of the comments or questions that came through last week were, I don't know how to move past this fear. It's like they're gripped by it. They're immobilized by it. They're overcome by it. And we all have the power of choice, and we all have that distinction. What would be your guidance, or it could be a tool, it could be a technique for those people?
Okay, so here's the thing. We don't move past the fear. We move into it.
Bingo.
We move into it. We surrender. So to surrender doesn't mean we give up, we resign, we lay down, you know. To surrender means we surrender resistance. So we surrender our resistance to fear, if that's what we're experiencing, and we allow ourselves to move into it. Breathe into the fear. You know, we all know the acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real. There have been some other acronyms, you know, face everything and rise is another possibility for fear. Face everything and rise. I would choose that one. So face our fear, not contract and resist it, but move into it. And so this is a moment, and who knows how long this moment is. I mean, you know, it is however long it is. And really, I would pray that the consciousness that is emerging from this moment grows and expands way beyond this moment. That's really the possibility of this moment. But in this moment of fear, it is to us, we are, you know, like Clarissa says, we are the leaders we've been waiting for. We are the souls on deck. Let your light shine. And so when we're in fear, our light is dimmed. So breathe into the fear and invite the fear to tell you, to teach you what it has come, its purpose. What does it want you to know? Face everything and rise. I consider fear to be a great teacher if we're willing to open to it. And that seems counterproductive or counterintuitive because, you know, our ego self wants to escape, wants to run away. But our soul, the soul, I talk a lot about soul in what I write and how I teach, and the soul can thrive in fear. The soul is comfortable with fear. The soul works in the dark, deep waters of our being. That is where the soul does its work. The soul works in uncertainty. So do not fear that. I'm seeing smiles on your faces. I know you're all recognizing that truth in yourself, aren't you? Yeah, so, it is for those of us who have had the privilege, and I really do consider it a privilege, to do the work that we have done, to be a source of remembrance, to be a source of light, to be a source of love for those many who are in fear right now. What would it be like if everyone walked in the world as a namaste? And that doesn't mean that you're necessarily bowing to everyone, although that's definitely an option too, right? And I do that. I actually do that. But what if you were walking in the world in the consciousness of, I see the divine in me recognizes the divine in you? What a shift in consciousness could occur if there was a critical mass of human beings who were operating from that context, really in ownership and embodying our own higher nature, our, the highest intelligence, the source in us. If we express and embody that consciousness, even silent to others, be a silent blessing in the world. That's what I would say.
There you go, Tina.
Wow, I love
that. Tina was like, can we please talk about the namaste?
Yes.
Yeah, Tina, say more about why that was powerful for you.
Yeah, it was so powerful for me because what I'm hearing and seeing is like people are saying, hey, let's just fist bump, let's, or elbow bump. It's the new elbow bump now. And every time I hear that, whether it's on social media or just out and about, not out and about anymore, but when I would hear that, I just always come back to that so special day when our group really decided to let's go with Namaste. And it just really changed our intention and how we went into that meeting. It changed our intention with everything that we were doing and who we were being in those moments. Because when you namaste, it's just this higher level of vibration. It's this higher level of being and connection and just respect for the other person. And it was just so powerful for me because I believe that if we can get there imagine if we could get there as a world, what this world would be like. Imagine that.
Half the world is already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really actually talking about the West.
Right.
Yeah,
I was going to say that.
You know?
Story. Yeah.
Half the world knows that it's actually the beautiful energetic space in between us that is just as present and palpable and experiential as bringing two bodies into a hug, embrace, or a handshake. That we can actually have connection and an experience of one another just by feeling the energy between us, which really is the connection between us, and for us to start shifting our value, that energy between us is what will really energetically connect and unify us all on the planet at the time.
This is such a symbol of the healing right now too, because Namaste is truly the masculine and the feminine coming together. It is such a healing for the planet. And what you were just saying, this is deep intimacy. You're looking at the soul and you're saying, I honor you. I see the true you. My name is Emily. I just want to just quickly say that my friend just the other day introduced the Chinese symbol for crisis. It's made of two parts, danger and opportunity. Danger and opportunity. So like those together, which we are in a crisis, or fear when it comes up, that's a crisis. So it's such an opportunity right now to go into it and remember who you are. I love everything you just shared, Judith, like truly, and everyone here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And namaste. That's all I wanted to say.
Himalaya, I've got to jump in because this is so profound. I love these metaphors. So Judith, thank you and Beth too, like for starting us off in that rich soil of metaphor, because it can land, it lands for so many of us. And interesting, Himalaya, that conversation with the Chinese symbol. I've been talking to my executive assistant about the word apocalypse. And apocalypse means to uncover, it means to like look under the veil. And I actually have, and I would love, Judith, I love you so much. I would love to hear your opinion on this, but I've been allowing myself as an energy intuitive to step into the energy of the virus and to tune into it. Like, at first, I'm picking up the fear of everyone around me, and I'm like, this is not me. I'm not identifying with this, so I'm doing my light work to get it off me. And then I was like, wait a second. My gift is that I can feel all of this. So if I stand as that bright soul at the front of the boat, and I allow my soul to shine, I can call the virus in and ask it, what can we do? Where do we go? We're listening, because we're just uncovering. We're just looking, like what isn't working anymore for us as a collective? What isn't working anymore in my own life, with my family, at my home, at work? And I've been doing this, you guys, and this virus it's not a vengeful energy. It's not a violent energy. It's not here to take down the human race. That our planet, I've heard my sweet fathers like, the earth, she hates us because we've ruined her. And I don't think so. I think she is fiercely standing with us in this moment, supporting us and holding us so that we can say, okay, some of this stuff isn't working anymore. It is not an accident that they've closed schools and big buildings where many people are working, right? It's not an accident. The structure is crumbling. And this is a huge opportunity. And to go into this virus and say, okay, what are you saying to me? What are you telling me? It's been an amazing experience. It doesn't want to hurt me. It's not coming to get me. It's just there to say, okay, there's another way, and you get to be the ones to shift this now, right? So I don't know, Judith, take it away.
Yeah. So what's coming up for me is the shift in consciousness from fearing the virus, to respecting the virus. And I think that's what you're saying, Christina. To have a healthy respect, and to know that. As you suggested, this is, while it appears to be happening to us, it's actually happening for us. And what is that? What is that for us? That becomes possible as these old systems, and I'm gonna call them patriarchal systems. I'm just gonna call it how I see it. The old patriarchal systems have been in collapse, have been on their way to collapse for a long time. The old system of dominate and control has been our paradigm on planet Earth for millennia. And those who have been tuned in to alternate ways of knowing, those who are sensitives, who are intuitives, who are accessing the field, if you will, the quantum field of all potential. We know that that there can be no other way but for this system to collapse, because it is not sustainable. And we have reached that point of unsustainability. I have known for the 45 years that I've been in this work that there was coming a time like this, I didn't know what it would look like. None of us had any idea what would be the mechanism that would trigger this, that would trigger the collapse. But I believe that that's where we are. And I think that it is such a fertile field, as you suggested, Kimberly. It's such a fertile field of potential for us to mine now, that the virus is here to teach us how to rise up, to teach us how to invent a whole new way of being, how to transform. So this is a moment of transformation in the collective. So on the one hand, we're in a collective breakdown, and most people fear breakdown, they go into overwhelm, they go into, in the trainings, what we call psychological assessment, which is to, complain and whine and worry and all of that, which really accomplishes nothing but digs us deeper into our fear. We are in what is seated in this moment is our collective breakthrough. And that is what is so exciting for me to think about, that we are really on the cusp of a breakthrough in the collective. And who's going to be in the first wave of humanity to have that happen? We are. We are that first wave. If I may, in the trainings, I'm always looking for the waves of people who wake up. For people who have not done the trainings that we're all, that connect all of us on this panel. I would say fundamentally, these trainings, these leadership transformational trainings, are about awakening consciousness. And so during the course of a 3-day experience, a 4-day experience, a 3-month experience, what happens is that people begin to wake up in little tiny increments. And there will form in a training room, there will be in a training room, the first wave of people who start to wake up, who begin to demonstrate and express that they're opening, that they're at least, dropping some form of resistance. Because most people come into an experience like this in resistance, with arms folded, legs crossed, closed body position, sort of sitting back. Okay, let's see what you got, right? Show me what you got. And that's really not what it's about. It's about show yourself what you've got. Show yourself who you are. Open up to look inside of who you are, to discover what you didn't know about who you are. And that domain is a vast field of unmined potential. So in this collective experience, we are in that first wave of people who are leading others to wake up. And our job, as I see it, should we choose, and I choose, and I think you all choose, is to, carry the torch of awakening, to carry the torch, to be torch bearers, every single one of us, which is to say, turn on the light, shine your soul, catch fire, catch other souls on fire, create the second wave and the third wave and the fourth wave, until there is a critical mass of awakened consciousness that causes a tsunami of awakened consciousness, so that so that people who didn't have a clue what was going on are simply swept up in the tsunami of awakened consciousness. That is what I believe we are in the process of. We are in the very beginning of it. Right now, the old system is still hanging on like mad, is fighting and clawing to stay in power, to stay in control. And so we're still in the struggle. We're still in the breakdown. And it's going to take time for all of this to occur. But when these waves start rolling on and critical mass, now critical mass has already begun. Let us be sure about that. Critical mass has already begun and the waves are coming in. And so it's building. Yeah.
Judith, I love that. One of the conversations that's been going on in my neck of the wood. I'm Tiffany.
Hi, and what do you do out in the world, Tiffany? I already know.
I'm a corporate leadership coach.
I love you.
So I get to, speak to the people who are, handling the workplace situation at the moment. So Judith, what I really loved was, the powers that be are in that struggle to hold on to what already exists. A lot of the conversations that have been going on in my community, my neck of the woods, is I can't wait for it to go back to normal. And it's been such a joy and a privilege to be the interruption of it's not going back to the normal. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about, it's not just the powers that be, but it's also just the everyday person who is waiting and hanging on to that notion of, I can't wait for things to get back to normal, and how we lean in as leaders, as conscious human beings, into we're going somewhere new now. We are in the space of a new paradigm, a new vision for what gets to happen. So I'd love to hear a little bit more from you about we're not going back to the normal.
Yeah,
and just let's drop that word of normal in general.
Right, Tiffany. Well, the vast majority of people don't know how to operate in uncertainty. I mean, uncertain times, such as what we're in now, people want to self-soothe, and self-soothing, the default is what I already know. So people want to go back to what they already know because there's a level of certainty there. And a level of certainty there means a level of comfort there. So people are comforted by the thought of going back to normal. The idea that we're not going back to normal, and yet we have yet to define, or we have yet to see what will replace normal, puts a great deal of uncertainty in the zeitgeist, right? And so we're all in that. And, it's like we are the ones who are declaring that there will be a paradigm shift that won't look anything like the old normal. And we have trust and we have intentionality around what that paradigm shift will create. I think we're clear and committed that it will be a creation of a consciousness of unity, of a remembrance of our oneness, that it is no longer about dominate and control, that it is about collaboration, that it is about creating win-win. We know this. We know that we all, we know that when everyone wins, the game gets bigger, that we create abundance. But for one who is operating from the old paradigm and hoping to go back, they don't yet have a vision. So I think that our job is to support people in creating a vision about what is possible that doesn't look like the old normal. So, if you can be with people around what is your vision for a new possibility, for what it could look like. So shifting people's focus, like Clarissa says in the piece that I read to you, she says, don't go there. Don't give I say don't rent real estate in your psyche or in your spirit to the old paradigm, to going back to the old normal, but instead to create a vision for a new possibility, and then begin to make choices and take actions to move one in the direction of that new vision. Does that support Tiffany?
Absolutely. And just, can you talk a little bit about that word normal? That's a word that I've been trying to release in my language because it kind of sets up a context for something that doesn't exist anyway.
Right. Well, it's a remnant. It's a remnant in our conditioning. It's a remnant in our psyche. We learned it, we've been conditioned, for eons to think in terms of what is normal, and to look for what we call normal is predictable. So people seek predictability. People don't do well when they're outside of, when everything is unpredictable. If there was ever a time when in every moment, everything is unpredictable, we don't know from now to, by the time we get off of this webinar, everything will have changed while we've been in this room together. So there is really nothing predictable. It's our conditioning to seek comfort from that. I wrote a book about that called Beyond the Box. And what is the box? Yes. What is the box? The box is the box of familiarity, safety, and comfort. So it is our nature as humans to seek that. And the potential is we are transforming as humans. The potential is to transform from a human who is addicted to predictability and safety and comfort, which humanity is. We are addicted to it. To have the courage, so what we need to inject into the system now is the courage to step out and be the cause of. So not to seek normal, which, as you said, there is no more normal. Nothing is normal anymore. So what we have is simply potential. What we have is unmanifested potential. What we have is possibility that has not yet come into form. And what we get to do is bring it into form. And how we do that is through the technology of our consciousness, through the technology of our language. We call it forth. We speak it into form. We think it into form. We be it into form. So that requires a transformative experience for human beings. And every one of us is going through this. I mean, we all see it. We see it all over Facebook. I mean, we're not out in the world anymore, but I'm sensing it in the world. Actually, I don't know, I'm going out for my walks. I live in the Bay Area. We're stay-at-homing. I think probably most of you are, but we're allowed to go out and exercise. So I get out for an hour every day and I go on my walks, and everybody is social distancing and all of that. And I met some new people yesterday. They had just moved in a couple blocks away from me, and they were, unloading their car. And so I came upon them, and we all stopped what we were doing, a safe distance apart from other. And see, normally, under normal circumstances, they would have kept doing what they were doing, and I would have kept walking, and we would have just, been business as usual, but we didn't. We stopped. It was spontaneous, and it was a husband and wife, and we greeted one another. The man was taking stuff out of his car, and the woman was putting stuff in the garage, but we all stopped and we recognized each other. And without namasteing each other, we did. I could feel it energetically. I could feel that connection. And so, you know, we introduced ourselves to each other. They told me that they had just moved in and where did I live and blah, 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 and just, you know, stuff like that. But it was a moment of recognition. You know, the human beings long to be connected. It is our nature. And so we will seek ways of being connected during these times. Here we are, right here. And you know, we will continue to expand our ability to connect because it is our nature. I think that we are in the process of transforming whatever normal used to be is no more, and to be in the moment as unfolding in the moment, to shift our awareness to that we are a process. We are a becoming. We are a being that is becoming, and in every moment we are in our becoming. So
I'd love to jump in. Judith, I'm just like feeling all of it. My name is Maria Leandra, and I'm all about mindset, magic, and momentum, and really serving visionary leaders. And I'd love to ask everybody who's watching to drop like the one word of what they're feeling right now, because I think we're all like really vibing in the space of this so just drop it in there. And I wanted to ask you, Judith, to speak into, it keeps coming up for me, is this, we are in the space of being so cracked open, raw, and there's an intimacy that many people have never experienced before. And maybe they can't identify it as intimacy, but that's what it is. It's like all of the shells are coming off and there's this ushy, gushy, mooey, now like that realness. And that's scary for a lot of people. That can because it's new.
yes.
And it allows us to connect in a much deeper way and to feel into both ourselves and everybody else. So when everything that we knew falls apart, there's nothing left to lose, sort of. There's nothing left to protect us, which was all an illusion anyway.
Yeah.
But then that illusory protective shell comes off. So I'd love you to speak into that raw, like, you know, intimate, ooey gooey stuff that we're probably feeling, and how to actually surrender into that as well.
Choose it. You know, I mean, it sounds so basic. It sounds so simple. But it's not. Based on results, we see that it's not. So it goes back to that, choose this moment. This I also choose. I choose this moment of vulnerability. I choose this moment of rawness. I choose to be open and vulnerable in this way. It is unfamiliar to me, and I may not be comfortable with it. I may not know how to be with it, and I choose it. It's like, you know, what we learn in the trainings about choosing this moment. And when we choose, and so let me just back up a step. So again, there will be people who will struggle, many, with that choice, won't they? That experience of rawness and intimacy is, you know, it's not experienced as a blessing necessarily in the beginning. And in fact, it's what it is. It is what is wanted and needed in the world right now, are for all of us to be in this, I think, beautiful space of availability. You know, rawness and vulnerability is availability. I am available. So, you know, that's not a comfortable place for most people to be, because like you said, we've spent our lives behind walls. And we think that we're safe and protected back there. And what we don't see is that we're trapped back there. You know, we're stuck and we're caught back there. So when the walls have been blasted away, you know, like now, if you didn't just consciously pull out the bricks and peek over and kind of in your own sweet time come out, but when you're just blasted through, as in breakthrough in the moment, you're like, I don't know, maybe some of you saw, I reposted this post on Facebook of a baby chick in a nest. It's like the first chick who broke through. There are two brilliant, blue eggs that it's sitting next to. And this baby chick has its mouth wide open, and it's all by itself. This baby chick's mouth is wide open, and I put in the caption, hello, is anybody there? Hello, world. Where's my mama? Where's my home? What's happening? Where am I? So we're like strangers in a strange land. We have arrived, we're like on a new plane. We're in new territory. We don't know the territory. It's like foreign territory for most people. We don't have a map. We don't have a compass. We don't have anything to guide us except our inner North Star, our inner global positioning. And so, it's our jobs right now to tune in. It's our jobs right now to surrender and open and allow for new ways of knowing. Yeah.
Thank you, Judith.
I love that, Judith. Oh, Wendy, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Wendy, jump in.
It's Wendy Pocket. And I work with mindset a lot of the time, what it boils down to. And my question would be for you, Judith, a lot of humans are, yes, they want to choose all these things. They're leaning in and they're afraid, but they're leaning in, and their mind is what takes them into the fear. It projects the fear forward. So what is that moment where they can be present, stay present, and yet not let their mind run away from them? So what would you say, speaking into, where does your mind go? When, yes, I'm leaning into this fearful place, like I'm going to be brave, where does my mind go?
Where does one's mind go?
Yes, where does one's mind go? Like, where can it go in order to feel a semblance of possibility instead of fear?
Yeah, let me begin by quoting Werner Erhard. Werner Erhard says, the mind has a mind of its own. And when we're in that place where the mind has gone into the mind of its own, and it's not a great neighborhood to be in, right? The mind isn't always a great neighborhood to be in. And so to have the skill to be aware of that in the moment when I catch myself, and this is a learnable skill, by the way, and this is what you all have learned throughout your leadership training, is the ability to interrupt yourself when the mind goes to a territory or into a neighborhood that is not supportive, that does not take you to where you want to be, to interrupt. And we learned something in the trainings, and I'll share it here because I think it is important. We learned 5 simple steps. First step is stop. Stop everything. Interrupt yourself in the moment. Now, so this presumes that the mind is racing off into down a rabbit hole, and you catch yourself in the process. You actually see it happening. Now, before you do that, you've probably spiraled down the rabbit hole a bit, unconsciously. So you'll do that. At the moment that you become aware, oh, look where I am. See, this is what happens to me. I'll catch myself in the act of starting to go down a rabbit hole. And the key is, how quickly can you interrupt yourself? It's not that you'll never have a moment It's not that you'll never have a rabbit hole moment. Yes, you will. Of course you will. You're a human being. So I think, give yourself grace. Okay, so you're in a rabbit hole moment and you come to a point of awareness. So the first thing to do is stop, interrupt yourself. And I always kind of imagine that my mind, ego, is like this little furry animal that I choose to see on my shoulder, like a little furry creature that I put on my shoulder. When I catch myself having a moment like that, where I've gone into fear, I've gone into uncertainty, I've gone into judgment, I've gone into complaining, I've gone into feeling out of control or maybe anxious, and I catch myself, I start talking to the little creature on my shoulder. Oh, hello. There you are. Oh, look at you. So I'm speaking in a loving voice. I'm not being punitive. I'm not trying to vanquish this experience. I'm actually in a loving, warming, welcoming relationship with my mind at that moment because it's scared. So hello, there you are. I see you. How are you? What's going on? Oh, you're doing anxiety right now. Okay, well, here's the deal. So this is the conversation I'm having with my mind. Okay, so here's the thing. I know you're scared. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. So come right here. Come in. Come on, get close. So here's the thing. I'm here with you. I'm the adult in the room. We're in this together. I got you. So come on, just snuggle in here, get warm, get safe. Let's breathe together. We're in this together. I know you're scared, but you're not alone. So let's do this together. And then I do some breath work with the, furry critter until that part of me calms down and I can return, I can center, like the beautiful meditation that Beth led us through at the beginning. Thank you, Beth, so much for that. It was so powerful and beautiful. That's who we get to be with our mind. We get to be, when we come to a point of awareness where we can interrupt it, we get to be the adult in the room, the loving, warm, nurturing adult to that part of us that is anxious or afraid. Does that make sense?
It does. And you were saying there's 5 steps. So for those watching, I feel this is so supportive. Thank you.
So juicy. I'm writing the 5 steps too. Thank you.
Okay, so step 1 is stop. So that's to interrupt yourself. Step 2 is look. So look inside. Look inside to see what's happening, what's going on, what's coming up for you, what are you experiencing? So rather than contracting and pulling away from it, lean into it, move into it. So look at what's going on, and then look deeper. What else is possible? So if you're in anxiety right now, acknowledge it, recognize it, and what else is possible? What other possibilities could I choose? What other ways of being could I choose to be right now? Look and see. Then choose. Step 3 is choose. Choose a possibility that supports you. Choose a possibility that empowers you. Choose a possibility that shifts your energy from fear to empowerment. So choose one. Vote. So I would say vote to empower yourself. Vote yourself, vote, give yourself an empowerment vote. Give yourself a, I trust you, you got this, you can do it vote. Vote. And then step 5 is take action. which can look like you're shifting your mindset, you're shifting your consciousness, maybe you're taking some physical action in the world that you have been in paralysis around. You've been stuck and not taking action out of fear. So now take action based on a new choice, based on a new possibility. Take a new action in a new moment. And then actually, there is a step 6. And step 6 is step left. So step left is to say, shift your perspective, right? Every moment, a new perspective, a new opportunity to see things differently, to see the moment differently becomes available. So shift your perspective, open to new possibilities. Those are what I would call the 6 steps.
I love that, because I feel in the 6th step, you're seeing a new possibility because of everything you brought yourself through for the 5 steps before. The 6th step is allowing yourself to see it. You're actually seeing it in a new moment.
Yes.
So, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I wanted to jump in here. Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy McKenna. I am a family transformation coach, and I believe that the foundation of our worlds and our society starts with the bricks of our family. And what a beautiful time that we have right now, where we are home from a lot of our jobs, our kids are home from school, that we do have this extra time with our families. So with all the inspiration and all the empowerment and all of the wisdom and guidance that we've received thus far, we get to put this into action today with our loved ones, with the ones who we love the most, where sometimes the stakes are the highest. And, you know, speaking personally with my kids, you know, and many of us with kids will say this, you know, they'll go out in the world and have great behavior and hold themselves together, and then they come home to us and explode, right? Because, you know, and so we get the worst of them. But what if we shift the perspective of that, what we can acknowledge ourselves for is that we have created a safe space for them to open up and be themselves. So we get to really lean into and acknowledge the beauty in the behavior that we may not love. And in doing that, lean into what is uncomfortable, which is what we've been talking about. Acknowledge not just the adult in us, first with us, like we get to be calm, but then we get to be the rock, we get to be the anchor, we get to be the light for our family and our kids. And when we can show them what's possible through us, now we're not just, you know, affecting us and others in the world. We have a direct line to the people we're still allowed to touch, the people we're still allowed to hold and hug and be with. And Judith, as you were talking to your little person on your shoulder, I was like, those are our kids too. Yes. And I want to go back to the image that you said of the chick with her mouth wide open. And before you went into the monologue of all of the kind of the fears and anxieties that they had, what was present in my mind was that this chick was all alone with her mouth wide open because she trusted. She trusted that she had a family. She trusted that even though there was nothing around her right now in the moment, that her mama was going to come back and feed her and nourish her and love her. And so if we can just continue to move forward in this space of uncertainty with the trust that we all are in this together, we're all bonding together, we've got our family units, and when we can build something beautiful here, we know that it's just going to just rocket ship out into the world too. And like, again, going from the patriarchy to, you know, something else, cooperation and seeing and understanding and honoring and shifting the whole leading from fear, where we shrink back, to like leading with love, where we let our hearts just be wide open, and we're unleashed. We're unleashed to be who we are and who we're meant to be, no matter what it is. And, you know, the final thing, there were a couple comments over here in the chat of like, how do I lean in? What do I do? And I want to invite everyone to consider that you don't do anything. You just be with it. Like, we are human beings, not human doings. And so when we can just be in the moment and not feel like you have to contribute or fix or enhance, but you just be connected, it just, the energy flows, and it flows beautifully, and it flows with love. And yeah, I just want to thank you all of this. Like I'm just dying over here because like I want to go be with my kids to share all this, but I know at the same time, just by being here, we are touching them because we are all one. And so I want to thank you all for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, anybody want to jump in?
Yeah.
You're gonna jump.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
I was
know.
just gonna say thank you. No,
No,
Aaron, I'll never jump in if you've got the mic. I'll never. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's
ahead.
hear from you, Aaron.
Let's hear.
Well,
no,
hi,
I'm gonna
I'm
interrupt you.
And I'm the token male.
Wait a minute. Stop. Wait. I have to interrupt that. No. Oh, honey, you are so much more than a token male. Come on.
I am bringing some humor and light brevity here. And
you
also,
are the representative of the male species right here. And what a beautiful, perfect representative you are, because I think you're actually a bridge. You embody so much, such balanced energy between masculine and feminine. You are a perfect bridge to be in this room of all women, which you are a lot, aren't you?
I sure am a lot.
Aaron, you're the chosen male. You're the chosen
it's
male.
It's my honor. It truly is my honor. And thank you, dear Judith. I'm going to drive up to San Francisco now and give you a big hug.
Everybody do.
Yeah. Like what I've been really present to is, obviously, it's not about the virus. This virus, it's not about the virus. And when we kind of get into that awareness, we're able to like pull out into what is it then? What's the larger perspective and view and learning and opportunity here for all of us, right? Because obviously, I mean, the way the virus is acting is you know, over 600,000 people die every year in the US alone from cancer. Over 600,000 people die every year of heart disease in the US. And that's just the US. Millions and millions of people die from so many other things on a far larger, grander scale than this virus. And it's not about the virus, it's about how we are relating to this. How we are in relationship to what do we actually feel right here and now when the world is telling us we should feel a certain way. The world right now collectively is saying, be scared, run out, hoard food. Like that's so much of the conversation out there. And I want to just presence, like there's not going to come a time. Are we really like waiting for the government to say like, okay, everybody, it's safe now to go back outside? Okay, everybody, go out and hug your friends and neighbors? That's not going to happen. And why would we think that would happen? That is, to me, the larger question. That's, to me, the larger opportunity here is like, what are we actually up for in this opportunity of trusting who we are, trusting the soul, right, on the ship, and starting to check and take stock and inventory what feels authentic, what feels in alignment, what's resonating for me as truth. What is resonating for me as truth right now? What's resonating for me as truth right now, this is the greatest opportunity on the planet. This, I have been waiting for myself for this time all my life. I have intuited, like Judith, that this is a shift that is where it's go time for my soul. And I'm excited. And of course, I'm also dealing and dance with fear. But what I'm what I'm saying is that we get to shift rigidity into fluidity. We're shifting rigidity into fluidity, and that means really checking in with the flow and the feeling of what's present right here and now. And what's present right here and now is that we are really being called to our power, to our intuition, to recognizing that we are not going to get permission. Like, we can't wait for permission to rise. We can't wait for permission to go back outside and feel like everything is going to be okay now. Mommy and daddy, i.e. governments, no longer, are no longer exist for us, because we're all being forced to grow up and parent ourselves. So I'm looking back, pulling out this lens. This is the opportunity for us to get real, and it's not about the virus. It is about getting real, getting present, and really trusting our power, giving ourselves permission to move from a place of intuition and feeling and coming together like never before, because that is also going to involve us getting out in the physical with one another. We won't stay digitally connected like this and be effective, because we're not in control of this digital medium, right? Like, it's going to require us going out, getting to another level of standing in our power, being that light as a collective, getting out. So I'm just presencing, like, let's not wait for permission also to do that. Maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, but that day is coming, and we get to feel it and celebrate it. So there we go.
Aaron, you had a Facebook Live earlier this week at some point, and you had mentioned, the part of our evolution is us being down on our knees.
Yes.
And it was powerful, because there's a lot that can happen when we go there, when we surrender.
Everything is happening, I think, down on our knees, right? Surrender, gratitude, faith, prayer, all of those things come down on our knees, because when we do this, right, when we go down, we come back up and we rise. And that is the nature of the universe. The universe is always doing this, an expansion, contraction, an opening, and a closing. And go down, get clear, get present, get connected to what it is that is wanting to inform our next action. And just know we are not going to get permission. It's not going to come from the external world. Trust it from here. And let's move and lead from there. That's the evolution.
What would you say? There's a question in the chat window, and I wonder how would you respond to this? Sharon Coleman asks, are you suggesting we go out and completely disregard the recommended isolation?
I am suggesting that when you feel that it is your opportunity to go out, and what I'm saying is that we can't look to get permission like it's now safe to go outside, because nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows anything. And what I'm saying is shift the awareness and the consciousness of waiting for permission, waiting for be told what to do, because that's what's looking to be like evoked inside of us right here and now, is to trust our intuition. So what I'm saying is trust your intuition, trust this impulse that's wanting to move through you and bring you out when it's time. That if you're staying inside out of fear of something, there are millions and millions and infinite variables that could take you out, other than a basic strong influenza, unless you have a strong respiratory illness too, right? It's like we just get to presence. We get to presence that we don't look to the external world, i.e. governments, healthcare. They're the ones that perpetuate all of this stuff,
So you have a 1-year-old son.
Yeah.
So how do you, given your particular personal circumstances, how do you navigate this time in terms of trusting your intuition and going out?
Yeah, that's
given Atlantis.
Absolutely. It's right now, I have had so much joy. My wife and I cooked yesterday together. We're enjoying like this stillness. However, I know I'm not going to wait for permission to go out when I feel it's time to start. And I still go out. We're going outside. We're going out. But we're going to be the ones who say, enough. We are coming together. We're trusting this, because I don't see there coming a day of like the government. We're COVID-19 free. We're not. There's always some other contagion out there. There's always some other virus out there, right? Virus, cancer, whatever it is. So I absolutely, right now going out, we do. Am I going around and kissing everybody? No. I love the namasteing. But what the main thing is trust your intuition and just recognize, how are you responding? How are you in relationship to being told what to do right now? Because the world is telling us to be very scared. The world is telling us to hoard food. The world is telling us a lot of misinformation. So let's trust something deeper inside of us to know when it's our time. That's the key. When is it your time? When is it our time? And trust that, and allow it to inform your next actions out into the world.
Erin, what I'm hearing you say is like, it's almost like being our own leader, right? Like I wanted to talk about this and give this example. Yesterday, we went out for a walk. It was amazing. There were people, all over the place out walking in nature, which was great. And we were walking, it's a bike path. It's a route that we go almost every day, and we have for, I don't even know how many years, right? It's very familiar with this path. And it's the bike path actually that's along the back of our backyard in our house. And we're walking along, and one of our neighbors put signs in their yard that said, they were inspiring signs like, you're awesome, keep going. They were just these amazing inspirational signs. And it was so fun. You could tell that kids had made them, right? And so I had this whole list of things that I wanted to get done at my house yesterday, right? We have them all, the list. And I was like, you know what? We get to go home and make signs and put signs up in our backyard. So literally enrolled my husband to come home. We made like 4 or 5 signs, went out, put them on trees, put them in our backyard. And then we sat in our 3-season porch yesterday and watched people go by and watched the joy. And I mean, there were selfies being taken, people were like having fun. So what I hear you saying, Erin, is be your own leader, and just, it's our time each individually to rise up and do whatever it is that we could do. I had all the voices in my head going, oh, this is silly. People are going to think you're silly. They're going to, I had all these voices, and I was like, no, I get to be the leader and spread joy in whatever way that I can spread joy in this moment. And again, imagine if everybody watching in this whole world decided to just right now, right here today, I get to be my own leader and spread joy and love, and whatever that means is whatever it means. Nothing too big, nothing too small. And I think that's what the world needs right now, is just, how are you spreading your own joy and your own love in your own circle, wherever that might be, inside, outside, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's basically what Judith was saying at the beginning, is we all have choice.
Yeah,
we all have choice in this moment, and we get to choose what we're actually focusing on and what we're spreading out. We can spread fear and anxiety, and we can contribute to that conversation, or in this fertile ground, we can plant signs of inspiration and be that. Like, that's what this is. That's what we get to be. Beth, do you want to contribute?
Yeah. When you were speaking, Erin, it's so interesting because right here, my third eye, you can see it's red. It's like kind of like dry. It's in overdrive. Like, my third eye right now is in overdrive. And I've been telling my clients and the people, like just what Judith was saying, this is the moment you've been training for. This is the moment you've been training for. And I love what you're saying around navigating through your intuition. And this is not the time to be psychically ignorant. Like, we are intuitive beings. Mm-hmm. And I was like Tina in the beginning, I was like, wasn't buying into the whole fear and the hype, and I'm not buying into the fear, but I am listening. I am truly, truly listening. And right now I'm listening to social distancing. That's what feels responsible. That's what feels right to me right now. I don't know if it's going to feel that way all the time, but it's what in nature. This is what feels really right to me right now, is being in nature. And I don't know if you guys have heard, but China, since they stopped the mills and the plants and stuff, they can see the blue sky again. Like the sky is coming back. There are dolphins in the Venice Channel in Italy. Like the nature, as we're pulling back, nature is coming forward. It's so beautiful. And nature's just asking us to chill out. Let it balance. And that to me feels incredible. Like I'm aligned with that intuitively. And all of you empaths out there, this is the time, that's your superpower. That is your absolute superpower. If you've been told you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're too that, shift it. Because that's who we need right now, are the feelers, the intuitives, and every human being on the planet is intuitive. Every single person on the planet has that superpower. And this is the time. And if we can all come in and relax, and like Judith, that beautiful thing, oh my God, that she read about our souls have been waiting for this. This is the great turnover, the great shift. We're all in the middle of it. And this is the time we get to shine. So I love what everyone has said. It's been incredibly powerful.
It has been. Hi, everyone. I'm Shazia Imam. And I have to present something really special today, because when we're talking about joy and we're talking about life, today is actually a National Goof Off Day. And the reason that I know that is because it's my birthday. So happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And, I bring that up because, as I was in the shower this morning and I was thinking about my birthday, and it's a big milestone. I turned 40. I thought today about how many people are just in the world and how life is happening. So, 40 years ago, I was born, but today somebody's being born. So many people are being born, and there are many people that will die today. And this is the circle of life. I think that we have this deep fear around our mortality, and that's what's being highlighted. That's the anxiety that we're feeling. But the reality is that even in death, even in something that we might be so afraid of, in that same moment that somebody passes, somebody comes to life. And Judith, like you were saying, I was just really soaking in what you were sharing. If we just choose, like we really get to choose, the only thing that we are in control of truly is our choice, is our perspective. And if we make this choice to say, okay, there's a lot happening. There is a lot happening. There's so many ways to look at it. But in this very moment right now, like right in this very second, we're breathing, we're connecting, we're learning, we're growing, and life is continuing. The birds are still chirping. I hear them. They're still chirping outside. Nature doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. And so there's this piece that I'm tapping into of just being in the present, and also understanding that life does continue. This is the cycle of life. And that's what we're in now, whether or not there's a fear, whether or not there's something happening, because there will always be something happening, like always. So I choose joy. I choose a celebration in this moment because I get to. And I have a stretch for everybody, because it is National Goof Off Day, to give yourself permission to goof off today. Do something goofy and have a good time. Like, I'm giving you permission for anyone who's like, oh, stuck and I can't. And yes, you can. Like, today's National Goof Off Day. Have a really, really just a wonderful day. And I'm just so touched that I get to be in this space with all of you.
Thank you, Shazia. So, Tina, dance party.
We have to end it with a dance party.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm great with that. So what I want to say is it's about 9:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we can wrap up this beautiful conversation in any way that we know how, or we would like to. I want to just make sure that everyone has been able to contribute and is complete. So I don't know how we could be more complete.
We'll see you next week. Yeah.
So we haven't heard from you. Yes, I have, thank you. I have something to share. So we have started a Facebook group called Rise Up Leaders. And I invite anybody can join this group, and it's just a source of connection, of love, of support. Maybe you need support when that little thing gets on your shoulder, like Judith was talking about our ego. You bring it up, and I mean, it's just literally a support system. So I'm going to put it in the chat here.
Oh, sorry, I just did.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So I invite you to share it with whoever that needs this. And we're here as your resource, like just community, right? Rising up together as leaders. So first of all, Judith, thank you for being here today. Thank you for, give me a minute, please. No, thank you. Give me like 5 minutes. Thank you. As we have our kids home, there's my son. Judith, thank you for being here and presencing us with your grace, your love, your wisdom. This is something I'll keep forever, this recording. Like this is, I was saying, like this is gold. This is just so much knowledge given to all of us. And my invitation for everybody who's watching this is to share this training, share this, not training, but share this page so that more people get to hear. Thank you, conversation. So everybody gets to hear this and raise our level of consciousness, of vibration, so that we can really land this message of go within and work on us right now. And I don't know, hi babe, you can bring her in. That's okay. Hold on, we're gonna bring, I have the baby too. There's my husband.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, Curtis.
Hi, baby.
Ryan
Hi,
always
baby,
seems
Ryan.
to join.
Hi, Ryan.
Oh my God, smiling.
But this is, I do want to touch on one thing. This is the time to go within. And not just because we have children, but for us rising up as leaders. I actually believe it is my birthright. It is my duty to become the best person possible for myself, for the world, and for my 3 children that I'm raising to become leaders. They are leaders, right? I treat them as a leader already at 1 year old, 8-year-old and 6-year-old. My children acknowledge breakdowns with each other. We share with our children, we inspire them and empower them to give us honest feedback. I admit to my children when I'm out of alignment and I raise my voice. I'm sharing this for inspiration because we don't have to be right because we're mom and dad. We get to all come together as one, as leaders. And Wendy, I know I can like feel you over there. I love it. And I'm so glad, Wendy, that you're here, because next week I would really like to dive into that of being home with our children and how do we get to empower them and not dismiss them anymore. We're not, you guys, we don't have a time conversation right now. You know what I mean? Like we get to be home. I actually love this.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to homeschool my kids, and I've put in a time conversation of, I don't have that, like, I have a lot going on and not being able to homeschool. I'm loving it. My kids are running into the forest and bringing back wood to make fires at nighttime. Like talk about life skills that we are teaching our kids. So my invitation for everybody is to be present, connected with our families, our loved ones, and to go within. And I shared this with Aaron earlier. Oh, maybe he dropped off. Going to the forest and just sitting there and being silent and going within. So that was a lot.
that was beautiful and brilliant. And that so that you all are aware, the Facebook live stream did not happen. So this has not been put on Facebook at all. I was posting on my pages and sharing it out. So what that means is I will get the recording to all of you, and you get to share it with your communities, and we just get to share this message. Like my vision for this is that, you know, we touch 50,000 lives over the next month. That's my vision. I just said it. I just declared it.
Yes.
It scares the shit out of me. And I just declared 50,000 that we get to push this out over the next month to 50,000 souls. And thank you for putting it in the chat, Tina. Now it's in writing. It's real.
It's a declaration.
Yes, it is a declaration. So we will be doing these group collective Facebook lives every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific. So you may see new faces. You may see all these same faces. You will see some new transformational leaders. Judith, you are welcome every Sunday. We would love to have you. And this gets to grow and just be shared out. And I put the link, I think we put the link in to join the Facebook group. Great, awesome. Is there anything else you would like to say, wise sage goddess visionary?
Yes, of course. I really want to say thank you to all of you. I'm really so honored to be here. I want to acknowledge all of you for what you're doing. This is exactly, the question we began with was, what's next? The answer is this. The answer is this. So thank you all so much for being who you are, for, for being living expressions of love and joy and compassion and connectivity. I am just so proud of all of you. I honor you. I'm just, thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Judith, can you talk about your book?
Judith.
Oh, I posted the link to your book in the chat as well.
Did you want me to talk about my book? Did you say?
Yeah, just kind of tell people to get your book.
Promote yourself.
Get her book.
Promote yourself.
Get it.
Go get the book.
Yeah, it's available. What is the Kindle free?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I thought somebody
I'll look it up
in the chat. But it's available in paperback on Amazon. Beyond the Box, Dr. Judith Rich. I wrote this book actually 2 years ago. And it begins with talking about the hurricanes that were happening in the world at the time. So you know how we've been saying there's always going to be something. When the coronavirus is gone, there'll be something else. Well, at the time I wrote this book, we were in the middle of these horrendous hurricanes. And so I kind of used the analogy of hurricanes and how do we position ourselves in the times of great change. So the subtitle of my book is Lean Out, Break Free, Rise Up.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Rise up, leaders.
Ago.
2 years ago. So we're gonna end with a shake your booty dance party, and I'm gonna just choose a song. Why are you laughing at me, Christina Miglino? All right, we'll see how this song plays out. So
Himalaya, show us some moves, girl.
Yeah.
Himalaya, does this sound familiar?
The invitation is to move. You're being
Judith, namaste.
Love you, Judith.
Love you all.
Everybody just mute yourselves and go for it. Show what expansion and freedom looks like in your body. This is a DTO track. This is awesome.
Respirar a tu lado, agarrarte la mano, llegar hasta el cielo así. Quiero regalarte mis brazos, que te miren los astros, que tú sientas lo que hay en mí. Un latido más. Un latido más. Tu felicidad, tu felicidad. Es un misterio en lo profundo, en el silencio perdemos, ganamos, soñamos, bajamos ese hilo natural de que se forma el universo entre el sol y la tormenta. Somos pasajeros, nieblas, mis días, mis noches, caminos sin broche, la calma, el frío, la lluvia, el destino. Perderse, encontrarse sin refugio al vacío, abrazando lo que duele, respirando al infinito.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, this is actually DTO. Himalaya, explain who DTO is, please.
DTO is an incredible music artist, composer, producer. He's got 3 albums out on Spotify, iTunes. DTO, or in Spanish, DTO. He's got, he just creates all world music and yoga music. And he's my beloved.
Yay! Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yay. So
Really
this
talented.
song, just so that you guys know, this song is called Energy. So this is DTO.
Energía.
Energía.
Yeah.
All right. We are
Okay,
wrapping
can I
it
just
up.
say I love our Sunday mornings. Like, I freaking love this.
Where's Judith?
I love it.
Yeah.
She bounced.
She bounced out. Awesome, 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 you guys. I love you. I love you. We'll be here
Love you.
next Sunday.
Love you
Next
guys.
Sunday, 8
Bye,
a.m.
everyone. Love you.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Crystal.